Hey, all you StarCraft 2 fans, pearlwitleBB here from Pearl StarCraft, and if you see there, my high score actually is 7 on Tactical Command, if you didn't believe me. Um, and I'm gonna do the Path of Ascension this time, which is the protoss version of this mission. My record is 4 units, so 4 units lost. So let's see if I can beat that. That'd be pretty difficult. I was doing some J-Dong micro when I got that. Not really. J-Dong would totally win without losing any units, but yeah. So this one takes six stalkers. You can beat the Hellions pretty easily. Put all the zealots down with the Marauders. 2 Colossus down with the Marauders. The other 3 Colossus can beat the Marines. And then the rest of the stalkers and the sentry go down to the Marauders too. So first the Hellions, just spread out your stalkers enough so that the Hellions aren't doing area damage to the stalkers. And when you blink micro back, they do have blinks, so you're going to be blink microing. Make sure you don't blink right behind another stalker, because then they'll do area damage to both stalkers. The Hellion only has 5 range, but the line of damage actually goes to about 6. It just won't shoot until you're within 5 range of it. Yeah, so that one, just make sure you don't get in a line, you'll be fine. And then the Colossus, put them up on the cliff. Have them barely over the edge of the cliff so that the Marines can't attack them. But the Marines they'll like clump up and they'll all get killed, obviously. But only a few of them will be able to attack each Colossus at a time. So that one's pretty easy. And then down here you want to spread out all your zealots so that they have a nice concave on the Marauders. Also you want the sentry in the middle, in the front, and right when it starts, hit CN, which is Hallucinating Archon. Those are the hotkeys for Hallucinating Archon. Hallucinate 2 of those. If you lose the hallucination, it does not count as a unit lost. So you put those in the front and let them take all the damage from the Marauders. And then your zealots do have charge. They'll charge in and eat everything up with the aid of the 2 Colossus and the 3 Stalkers in the back. So this one, if you do it right, you won't lose any units. Normally I lose 1 unit on this one. We'll see if I can pull off the no units today. I doubt it, kind of, but maybe. So I have all the zealots in a big concave, and then have the Colossus right behind them, and have the Stalkers right behind them. You don't want the Stalkers or the Colossus to get targeted, because that's too far over. But you want them close so that they can do as much damage as they possibly can. Because obviously the Stalkers and the Colossus take a lot more damage from the Marauders than the Zealots do. So right when you get in this one, hit CN, which is hallucination is C, and N is the Archon hotkey for the hallucination. So first the Stalkers will be the first challenge here. So basically, don't attack move into them, let them come to you, or your Stalkers might clump up on each other and actually take area damage. So now you just attack move, and blink back the Stalkers that are getting hurt the most. Like this guy's taking the most damage, so I blink him back. So this one's pretty easy. Stalkers do a lot more DPS than the Hellions, as long as the Hellions don't do area damage to your Stalkers. Keep him back there, he's in the orange. Once we're in the orange, you just blink back in hold position. The rest of the Stalkers should be able to take care of him, no problem. Yep, so I didn't lose any units there. Basically, that one's super easy. You only need, don't use all your Stalkers on that one, because that's unnecessary. And this one, use the Colossus on the ledge. The Marines don't even have shields, so you'll do tons of damage to them. And just stay move into this. And then micro back the Colossus that are getting hurt the most. And then tell them to hold position back in the cliff. See, my pylon is taking damage here, but I should be okay. Okay. That pylon is really close to dying. You don't need to let the pylon take that much damage. Normally you do better than that. But I didn't lose any units, so that's good. So CN, pull those guys get in front. then tell everything to attack move. So see, all the zealots are on the marauders and taking some damage, but I think I'm gonna pull it off. Yeah, no zealots died there. So just make sure that your hallucinations are in the front, and I don't even think a zealot actually took health damage. So that was really good. So I have 0 units lost so far. This one you got Thors, you got siege tanks, and you got battle cruisers. So you send the void rays down to the battle cruisers along with the High Templar, and you send the carriers up to the Thors, and then all the immortals to the siege tanks. Yeah. So the immortals have the hardened shield ability, which lets them take only 10 damage, a maximum of 10 damage. So even if the siege tank sieges up, it'll only do 10 damage. As long as you make sure you spread your immortals out, you'll be fine. If the siege tanks siege, sometimes they don't even siege, which does make them have a faster attack speed, and you want to micro back the ones that run out of shield. So you gotta be careful about that. So this one, just make sure the void rays are a little spread out to get a concave. That doesn't matter that much. Definitely spread out the immortals, because the siege tanks will do area damage, as I said. And you want to use the High Templar at the Battlecruiser 1 to feed back all the Battlecruisers don't storm, because you'll do 200 damage to each Battlecruiser, which is way more than 2 storms will do. So definitely spread out the immortals, spread out the carriers, because even though Thors do crappy damage versus carriers, because carriers are light, they will do area damage, and you don't want that. So yeah, my carriers spread out there. So I'm ready. Carriers first against Thors. Just focus fire the Thors, one at a time, and you should be fine. Might just micro back the carriers that are taking the most damage, which would be this one and this one. Especially this one. This one's actually gonna stay out of the fight. You guys going back in. That one almost died there. That was bad. I should be fine though. Still got a lot of carriers here. This guy needs to run away too. So a lot of those carriers were closer to dying than they should have been, but I'll still be able to beat this without losing any units. They don't target the interceptors. If they do target the interceptors, I'm not even sure if that counts as a unit loss. Probably not. So I'm gonna beat this one without losing any carriers, which any player should be able to do that. You probably don't need all the carriers. You could probably take one of the carriers and bring it down to the battle cruisers if you wanted to. Haven't tried that, because you can still beat the battle cruisers without losing any void rays. Sometimes you lose one void ray. This one, you do want to A move because you don't want them to siege up too far away from you. You just need to spread them a little bit so they don't get take area damage. This guy did run out of shield, so you gotta be careful with the ones that run out of shield. You gotta micro them back. This one needs to be micro back. Yeah, so that one's really easy too. Just make sure that if they lose all their shield, that you be careful not to let them die. So this one, feedback, shift, feedback, feedback, and run away. Tell the void rays to focus down battle cruisers. And then micro back the ones that are taking the most damage. And you beat that one pretty easily without losing any units. So I still lost no units. I'm actually sitting pretty good to beat my record here. So this one, there's Vikings, 5 Vikings and a battlecruiser. Here you got a bunch of Reapers and a bunch of Hellions. And here you got a bunch of siege tanks and 6 Marauders. So you're going to want to send the Phoenix up here, along with the Stalkers, to the battlecruiser and the Vikings. Then you're going to want to send the Colossus all to the Hellions and the Reapers. And then you want to send everything else down to the bottom, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So 4 Archons, 8, 6, 7 Immortals, and a High Templar and a Sentry. Now you want to set these up in a special way first I'm going to set up these guys. You want to spread out your stalkers so that they get a nice concave. They can all attack relatively quickly. As soon as the battlecruiser gets in range of one of them, they all should be attacking the battlecruiser. That's what I'm trying to say. And then you're gonna watch what I do with the Phoenix. I don't actually just A move into them because normally you'll lose one Phoenix, and if you try to micro back, the Vikings have 9 range, so they'll normally get shots off on it and it will die. So I'm just gonna go in with all the stalkers first, and the Vikings will all land, and then you fly in with the Phoenix and lift off 4 Vikings, so they're not doing anything. Then you just micro your stalkers against the battlecruiser, and then they can just shoot all the Vikings out of the air. This one, just make sure your Colossus are spread out and micro them, and you should win with all the Colossus in the red damage if you do it right. Sometimes you'll lose one Colossus. That's pretty annoying. And then down here, this was the hardest one to set up. You want the sentry in the front, because he's going to hallucinate Archons again. Actually, wait a minute. Yeah. So he's going to hallucinate Archons, and then you want the Archons in front of everything else. And you want the High Templar to storm the whole place. Like, you have 2 storms, so you want a double storm. Preferably on the Marauders, because actually, I don't think it really matters. Just as long as you get storms off, you should be okay. Then you actually want the Immortals. You want the Zealots in the back. The Immortals, put them right behind the Archons, but try to make sure they're not going to take area damage. The Archons do only have 3 range. They actually have 2 range. In multiplayer they have 3 range, but this didn't update, I guess. So they only have 2 range, and they'll be way ahead of the Immortals that probably still have 5 range. Yeah. So they won't take area damage from the tanks. The Marauders do terrible damage versus Archons, so you'll tank them really well there. And then again, you want to hallucinate CN with the Sentry. I'd send those hallucinated Archons in the front, which won't, if they die, they won't count as units lost. And then in the back here, you want the Zealots, which will charge to the front. So basically what's going to happen is the Archons and the Immortals are going to engage, and then the Zealots are going to charge forward, but the Marauders will be shooting the Archons and the Immortals, so that the Zealots won't get targeted by the siege tanks or anything like that. And that's the strategy to it. So the Zealots are doing damage, but they're not getting killed, because the Zealots obviously have less health than everything else here. Beside the Sentry and the High Templar, which will micro them back, and they won't even be in the fight, really. So after you get all these Zealots spread out a little bit in an arc, I'll be ready. Yeah, I'm ready. Okay. So first, the battlecruiser and the Vikings. You just want to A move on the battlecruiser, and then fly in with the Vikings right afterwards. Right, now if you watch, everything's gonna land. I mismicroed the stalker. Oh no. Okay. Alright, so I did lose one stalker there. That was really bad. But you can obviously do it without losing a stalker, because I had tons of stalkers left here. Just want to basically micro back the Colossus that are taking the most damage, but make sure the Colossus are still shooting after they take damage. So also some focus firing is good. So that Colossus is going to be taking the most damage. Oh my god, no. No. So I'm going to go up on this cliff here with my last Colossus. I'm terrible. I completely lost that. Normally you can beat that without losing any Colossus, but I'm just gonna retry that here. Basically, you can beat that without losing any Colossus. You just have to target fire into the. What would you target fire? I guess the target fire into the Reapers, because Reapers are more clumped up and you can kill them faster. Sorry about that. Maybe I can actually get 0 here. That'd be pretty cool. I'm might do well to send an Archon up there. I'm not really. I'm gonna send a Sentry up there, just to make sure I beat it without losing any units. So I'll probably lose a couple more units in this bottom one, but I won't lose the game. I want to finish this for you guys, so it's not too long of a video. So again, you want to set up the Stalkers and the Arc. There we go. And then you're going to want the Sentry in the front. You can do it the way I did it and just keep trying it until you get it without zero, without losing any Colossus, which I have done before. I'm going to hallucinate two Archons, and send them forward, make sure they're not taking area damage from the Hellions, and make sure the Hellions aren't doing area damage to the Colossus. These Colossus do have 9 range, so it shouldn't be that hard. And that should make it really easy. Just make sure you micro back the Sentry, because the Sentry will die really fast to any of this stuff, because it is considered light, and these all do additional damage versus light. Now I'm going to, and again, the hallucinations, if they die, they do not count as units lost, so don't worry about it. I'm going to put the Archons in the front, then the Immortals and Zealots. And then this, you're going to put the High Templar in the front, actually, so it can storm and then run away, but just make sure he doesn't get focused. Alright, so I got all the Immortals and the Archons, and the Zealots in place. You don't need to take all this time to make the spread if you want, but it does help a little bit. You might want to put your Zealots further forward, but that looked like it worked pretty well right there. You might not even want to use the Zealots, but you definitely don't want to put the Zealots anywhere else. Maybe at the top to help you kill the landed Vikings, if you feel like it. But it looks like the Zealots were rather unimportant in that fight. So if you guys like this video, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.